quarterbacks and tight ends. This is what we are here for. It's what the people want. We got to give it to them. Week 16, we're here to help you get to your championship finals. That's what this is all about. It is myself. Hashtag Father Time wins in the end. That's a shot at you, Mr. Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. You know it's coming for you. And my co-host, Jeremy Schulman. Hashtag Baker May Crush. Yeah, I think he's going to crush some souls. It's going to be glorious. We're going to see it again. He's top 5 quarterback. It's going to stay that way. How you doing today, though, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm disrespectfully eating on pod. But, just call me Aaron Rodgers if you want. Baker May Crush is my hashtag. Could be Baker Man Crush. Could be Baker Will Crush. It doesn't matter. He's my QB3 this week above Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Suck it.
Oh, baby, spicy. Let's fucking go, Bake. Show is in business. We're cooking. Tampa, they must be cooking some nice Baker Mayfield themed desserts and treats and all that fun stuff. You got to live with it. You got to roll with it. I should do like a grill thing that has Baker Mayfield on it. It's about cooking something. It would be glorious. These are fun thoughts I have on stream while we just randomly talk about stuff. Let's get into these guys. Enough chit chat. We're going to quarterbacks first, then we're going to do tight ends. Quarterbacks, tier 1. These are the big dogs fantasy. If you have them, you are firing them up no matter what. Our QB1, to no one's surprise, it is Josh Allen. He gets the pretty bad New England Patriots defense. Not too much to be said about that. Josh Allen is a Superman, and he is going to continue wearing that cape. Jalen Hurts gets the Washington Commanders defense. Very similar. You know what you're getting out of Jalen Hurts. He's fantastic. Very simple. Lamar Jackson is 3, and that might be surprising to a lot of people for us. The reason is he's playing Pittsburgh. It's as simple as that. It's really hard to put him outside the top 4. Speaking of the guy we just talked about, Baker Mayfield is our quarterback 4 going up against Dallas, and hey, yo, it's going to be a light show in Dallas. Our quarterback 5, Mr. Joe Burrow, playing the Cleveland defense, which is really on downtimes. Joe Burrow should have a monster game. And our quarterback 6 is Kyler Murray, probably the one we are most scared about and the one we have you're going to have the most rankings. It's Carolina. And sometimes as simple as we want to talk about fantasy, keep it simple. This is Carolina Panthers defense. You play Kyler Murray. It is what it is. How do you feel about these top 6 guys?
Yeah, let's stay with Kyler for a second because he was also guaranteed a Trey McBride touchdown this week. That's something that has not happened this season. Trey McBride has scored 2 touchdowns, but he recovered a fumble and ran one in. Kyler Murray has not thrown the ball to an end zone, stoic Trey McBride all season long. Will he do it this week? Probably not. Does he guarantee it? Absolutely. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but it is the Carolina Panthers defense. So anything is possible, even a top 6 Kyler Murray. But then, of course, I'm going to talk about my Baker Man crush right here. Baker Mayfield has been playing with his hair on fire, as the baby boomers might say. He's been absolutely crushing it. He's QB5 in standard scoring on the season. He's thrown 3 and 4 touchdowns in his last 2 games. That's been Vegas, but 4 touchdowns against the Chargers. It was such an impressive and efficient performance on just 27 passes. So Baker's been getting there on efficiency. While we talk about Jameis and all these other guys who are throwing it 40, near 40 or over 40 times a game, Baker's really throwing it less than 30 times a game over his last 6 weeks, or just right around 30 times a game. And he's still killing it over that span. He's a quarterback 1. And he plays Dallas. And, next week in championship week, he plays Carolina. If you have Baker Mayfield, thank your lucky stars. Yes. He is going to carry you along with the rest of that Tampa offense to the promised land and win you a ship. Baker is legit.
Yeah, Baker's dope. Like that, I shout out to Liam Cohen. Like that offense they have structured, I was worried about it because they were switching OCs going from Canales to Liam Cohen. Yep. Liam Cohen is scheming up some amazing stuff offensively, and Baker's even grown into a bigger role this year. And he's really he's already got career high in touchdowns. He's about to set a career high in passing yards. He's just going to have career highs across the board. Like, I would not shock me to see him have a career high. I think he already has a career high in completions. Like, blow these numbers out of the water. So Baker's going to go well over 4,000, probably 40-plus touchdowns on the year. Like, it's going to be a hell of a year for Baker. If they won a few more games, like, you make the case he's in the MVP discussion. That's how good he is, man. And if you have him in fantasy, he's one of the best values.
Also already a career high in rushing yards, tied for a career high in rushing touchdowns, and should set a career high in rushing attempts, although hasn't gotten there yet. So Baker's been awesome, career high in yards per carry. So he's doing it all, and he's looked awesome doing it. I mean, this guy is legit. He's going to be in Tampa for a long time. His contract says so, but maybe he gets another one after that.
Yeah, I would not shock me at all. Like, that was a really good deal for Tampa. We talked about the Geno Smith being a really good value. The Baker Mayfield contract looked like it's a fantastic value because everything's setting up well for Mike Evans and him and all of those guys continue producing. Enough waxing about Baker. If you have him, you're firing him up. You throw me on it, you run with it. Our quarterback's 2, and it's probably surprising to hear that Jayden Daniels falls for a tier 2. He's our quarterback 7. He starts it out because they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles defense. Now, I'm significantly higher. I'm at quarterback 4. I'm just not going to fade him, but I get the thought process, and that's why he's our quarterback 7. The next guy is your guy, Mr. Sammy Ballgame, going up against my Seattle Seahawks defense, and I completely understand why, because Seahawks defense has been all over the moon. They've had good, they've had bad, they've been left and right. They don't know which way. So if you get good Sam Darnold, good Seahawks defense could have a really good game. Our quarterback 9, Jordan Love, going against the New Orleans Saints defense, which is just flat out atrocious. Like, they're really bad. So this is a nice spot for Love. It really comes down to if he gets the passing touchdowns or not. If he does, he's going to be a top 10 guy for you. If he doesn't, he might fall in his 20s. The next guy, Jared Goff. Jared Goff is playing lights out. Just put up one of the greatest passing performances of all time last week against the Bills. Now he gets Chicago's defense. Chicago's defense is not what they have been previously. Now they're better against the pass, but I still think Goff can just light them up. So should be a really good game for Goff once again. Our quarterback 11 is Brock Purdy, going up against a really good Miami Dolphins defense. This one's a little interesting. We'll probably talk about this for a second. I don't know how I feel about Purdy, but this feels like the right spot to put him because he could still go off. But, yeah, you maybe lower your expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
And our QB 12, the other rookie who's just been really good and lived above expectation, that's Bo Nix, going up against the Chargers, and it's a tough matchup, and that's why he falls to the bottom of our tier 2. So, in our tier 2 guys, who's the ones you want to highlight, Jeremy?
So many. I could talk about all of them, but we'll limit it. Number 1, Jared Goff. Just a quick note on Goff. Yeah, he went off. Chicago defense a little bit tougher, but this is one of the, I think it's 3 games all season he will play not inside of a dome. That's something to consider when ranking him. Is he still quarterback 1? Yes. Is he lower end as a result? I believe so. Number 2, Jordan Love. You're absolutely right. He needs to get there with touchdowns. However, 3 of his last 4 games, he has thrown 2 touchdowns. He has still barely, just once, one of those games finished as a wide receiver, quarterback 1, and it was the quarterback 12. So Jordan Love is not getting there. It's called Josh Jacobs is the reason he's not getting there. Jacobs just stealing all of the touchdowns on the ground. And this team is winning. So why go away from the formula that Matt LaFleur wants to do all the time is run the crap out of the ball. They've been doing that this year, and they will continue to do that. So Jordan Love, as a result, is just unfortunately a back-end QB1 if you're lucky. And then Sam Darnold, you mentioned it. Sam Darnold needs to throw the ball to get home, but he threw the ball 40 times a high for attempts this season for Sam Darnold last year. And it was his 3rd worst performance on the season last week against those Chicago Bears. That's in division. Now he goes to play in Seattle. I'm not super confident about Sam Darnold this week, but I don't mind him. You can fire him up because, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison.
Yeah, like it is what it is with that offense. They just have such good pieces. It gives them a high enough floor. I think they're projected for like 23 points this game. So not the high end, not like a Lions total where the Lions are pushing 28, but it's still a good number and enough where you can have some confidence playing him. The Love stuff, it's just the matchup's really good. So it's hard to rank other guys above him in that range. Yeah. It's interesting enough with both like Kyler and Love. Like both those running backs are really succeeding this season. And they're really kind of limiting the quarterback. So we'll see if that changes down the stretch or not. But, kind of fall there. Let's go to our tier 3. Our quarterbacks 13 through 18. There's question marks in this tier. Can't really hide it. But there's still some really good upside in this tier. Starts out with Tua Tagovailoa. Tua and Purdy are basically back-to-back in rankings. It's a similar exercise for both of these guys in this scenario. You're going to need to score. You're going to need to put up passing touchdowns. Tua has been really good this year. We'll see if that continues against San Francisco 49ers defense, which is on the mend. They're getting back some good playmakers, but still they have some question marks. Quarterback 14, Anthony Richardson. You got to do it one time, Anthony. Like, we need it. You're playing the Tennessee Titans defense. You should be able to do it this week. I don't know if it's going to happen, but this is why he is here in our rankings, because it's really hard to rank people above him because the upside, which is, I know it's the upside case and everyone's like, yeah, stop doing it. But like, it is what it is. You keep chasing that dragon. It might burn us again this week. Our quarterback 15, Aaron Rodgers, who's been on fire recently. Like for fantasy production, he's been awesome. He's been putting up the yards, been putting up touchdowns. Yeah, no surprise. Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, all those guys, they are cooking. The Rams defense, they can be had. I like Rodgers a lot this week. Quarterback 16, Matthew Stafford, going up against the Jets. both of these guys, you make the same case for. So you don't have to spend too much time on thought exercise with both of them. It's very similar to what we talked about with Miami and San Francisco. Same thing for the Jets and Houston. The defenses are kind of up or down. Houston's coming off of a really good game. The Jets, not so much. So we will see how this goes. And the last two guys in this tier, we have a quarterback 17, Patrick Mahomes. We expect him to play, so he's back in rankings instead of Carson Wentz. Going up against Houston, so excuse me, it was the Jets and Rams. Well, I misspoke. It's Houston. The good defense. We'll see what the upside is for Mahomes, but he hasn't been bad in the second half. We just haven't had those really big blow-up games from him. And the last guy in this tier, Justin Herbert, who's played really well. They had quite possibly their worst offensive game of the year last week against Tampa. That Denver defense is legit. So I'm a little bit worried about Herbert in this tier. This is why he falls to the bottom for all of us. In this tier 3, who are the guys you like and who are the guys you're really not trying to play this week?
I'll talk about a couple guys, but I'll do it quickly. First of all, we have Matthew Stafford. In that same game, I'll talk about both of these quarterbacks, him and Rodgers. Stafford, 2 weeks ago against the Bills, won a shootout 44-42. Followed that up with a 12-6 win against the San Francisco 49ers in division. So we know that the Rams have been able to do it both ways, but they've been absolutely crushing. They've won 3 straight, 4 of their last 5, and they're firmly in the playoff hunt and may, in fact, win their own division. I believe they're the front runners at the moment. But if you look at the New York Jets are just continued, despite losing 4 of their last 5, the New York Jets continue to score points. After only scoring 6 against Arizona, they scored 27, 21, 26, and then 32 points in their first win in over a month against Jacksonville. Now they play the Los Angeles Rams. I'm not going to put it past the Jets to win this game. I don't think they will. But at the same time, I think they're going to keep pace, and both of these quarterbacks are going to absolutely crush. On the flip side, Anthony Richardson, no chance. There's no chance I'm playing Anthony Richardson. I don't care. He's my quarterback 17. I am by far the lowest in our group on him. And he had a terrible game last week against Denver. 38 pass attempts, completed half of them. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions, just 172 yards through the air. And still 7 for 46 and 1 on the ground, finishes the QB 15. So I get it. You can only push him down so far. But Anthony Richardson, for me, in a game that Tennessee's not really going to put up a ton of points, I don't think, and that Indy defense looked good. I think this is another Jonathan Taylor run the ball game. Will Anthony Richardson get there on the ground? Yes. Will he get there through the air? No chance.
Yeah, that's always a concern with Richardson. To hit the truly elite ceiling, you need the passing and the rushing. He's going to have the rushing. It gives him a solid floor each and every week. Like you mentioned in the last game, he was decent for you. But yeah, like in this range, if he was like passing well, the offense was going well, he would be a lot higher. We're just, we're kind of hedging our bet, putting him in that range. If you want to play Stafford, you want to play Rodgers, or do one of those guys in the range above him, 100% get it. I'm not going to argue just because he's been bad. Like he's simply just been bad as a passer. So until that changes, it's really hard to get the upside. But this game gives us a better chance of the upside compared to some team like Denver, which is a really good defense. The Titans have kind of fallen off, so it's a little bit better. But yeah, I'm with you. Enough talking about Anthony Richardson. Like we don't spend any more time on him. Tier 4. These are the guys where we're really taking shots and we're hoping things work out. Now, I will say the top guy in this tier I'm excited about is Caleb Williams. He's quarterback 19 going up against Detroit. And you'll tell from our rankings how we feel about this because I have him at QB 13. Jeremy has him at QB 26. So we cannot be any further apart. I'm willing to let it fly for Caleb against Detroit. I do not trust this Lions defense right now. The injuries are abysmal across the board. And the fantasy points could go there. Now, he can still do some turnovers, makes a bad thing happen. Because you remember the first half of that game, it was atrocious. They looked horrendous. The second half of that game, they looked lights out. Now, he's probably going to give you a little bit of both in this game against the Lions. The nice thing is like with Detroit, they're home. So I think the weather's going to play a little bit of a factor for Goff and them. It looks like it might potentially have some light flurries with snow. As long as it's not wind, it's not too big of a deal. But it's not going to be like inside the dome. So I understand your thought process. The next guy, quarterback 20, Cooper Rush going up against Tampa Bay. No one, it's like Tampa Bay and Jacksonville just give up a ton of fantasy points to the quarterbacks. Like theoretically, like I would play Cooper Rush over a lot of these guys. Like I really play him over Mahomes, Herbert, and all this range. Like you could talk yourself into Cooper Rush against Tampa Bay. He's been good. He'll probably put up points in this game again. Quarterback 21, Drake May. The Bills, man. Which Bills defense are we getting? That's my question. Are we giving the Bills defense that got shredded by freaking Matthew Stafford? Or are we giving the Bills defense on the other games? Like that's the thing with him, right? So Drake May can push it a little bit, but he has to keep up with it. So there's going to be a high variance in this game for Drake May one way or the other. Quarterback 22, CJ Stroud. Man, Kansas City, their defensive metrics have shifted where against quarterbacks they're getting significantly worse. Stroud just hasn't been good. Like, he has not been good in a long time. So it's hard to trust him. It is what it is with Stroud. You could fire him up, but I would look elsewhere. QB 23, Russell Wilson, Baltimore. Yeah, it was not good first time against Baltimore. Probably not going to be good the second time against Baltimore. He needs Pickens. If he has Pickens, I'll raise him. If he doesn't, this is probably where I'm going to sit with him. I'm just not super confident in Russell Wilson. And the last guy, probably the guy we can talk most about, Michael Penix, getting his first career NFL start, going up against a bad Giants defense. I'm not sure which Penix we're going to get, but I think it gives you a better shot than Kirk Cousins. So, guys in this range, who do you kind of want to focus on for a minute?
I can't do Michael Penix. I know SC is insanely high on him at QB 14. You have him QB 22. He's my QB 30. I don't want anything to do with this Atlanta team right now. I certainly don't want to trust Drake London. We already know you can't trust Kyle Pitts. I don't want to trust Drake London or Darnell Mooney in my fantasy semifinals with a rookie quarterback in his first start. Yes, Michael Penix played a ton in college. He's probably the most seasoned outside of Bo Nix, even maybe more so than Bo Nix, of a quarterback and of a passer coming out in this draft. He sat behind, by all accounts, one of the better quarterbacks in recent memory in Kirk Cousins, at least in the league, certainly a top 5 to 10 guy for the last decade. I'm sure he learned a good amount. He's got a good OC as well in Zach Robinson, who hasn't totally proven it yet, but seems like he knows what's up in the offense and the passing game. And he's playing the Giants. Great. No, I'm not doing it with Michael Penix in his first start. I hope it works out well for him. I hope he stays healthy. I hope, the line doesn't fall apart. I hope he's able to complete some things and progress towards the passer we expect of a top 10 draft pick. However, it's just a little too early. I have a bunch of Penix on my taxi squads in Dynasty, but I am starting, and I'll talk about this guy. I'm starting Cooper Rush over him on a team where I'm a heavy favorite and I lost Dak and probably now Geno for the week. I'm rolling out Kyler and Cooper Rush in a Superflex league instead of promoting Michael Penix. Cooper Rush against Tampa. You said all of the wonderful things that quarterbacks experience against Tampa. Cooper Rush was also the QB9 last week against Carolina, 18 to 29 for 214 and 3 touchdowns with no interceptions. In fact, Cooper Rush has only thrown 3 interceptions on the season to, it looks like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns. So that's not really what we expect of a backup quarterback, but the efficiency has been there. The volume has been there largely. It looks like he's throwing about 35 times a game, which is kind of phenomenal as well. And the way that Rico Dowdle is playing, the way that CeeDee Lamb is playing, Jake Ferguson is also getting involved. I mean, this offense can move the ball. They will have to because Tampa will score on them, quite obviously. I really like Cooper Rush this week. I'm not super, super bullish on him, but I will play him over Michael Penix and some of these other guys.
Yeah, I have him at QB 15, so I'm definitely playing Rush over a lot of these. I think it's a really good matchup, but he's good. The worry with Cooper Rush is he's just not that good of an overall quarterback, but I think the matchup's really juicy. And this is kind of my thought process with Penix, right? So the Giants defense, yards per allowed, they're 29th. Completion percentage, they're 30th. They had 32nd interceptions. Passer rating allowed, 31st. And defense CPA per drive, 25th. Yep. The thing with Penix is he's more seasoned, like you mentioned. So I'm more confident in his ability to kind of step in and be decent for them. Sure. It just gets raised against the floor of a really bad defense. If this was a tough defense, I'd be with you. I'd push him all the way down. I don't mind firing up Penix personally, but there is risk just because we've never seen him in an NFL game. It's semifinals, like you're asking a lot. It really depends what your opportunity cost and who you're playing him over. That's what it comes down to. So if we're in this back end range, like we're talking about Bryce Young, I'll play Penix over Bryce Young for sure. But like a couple of the other guys, it gets a little bit more interesting for me.
And I can see your rankings here, so I already know your answer. But Jesse, I'm playing Mac Jones over Michael Penix this week pretty easily.
I don't mind it. Like, Mac's been good and he gets Vegas, right? So The one thing with Mac, I'm just a little bit worried, but yeah, you could do it. Like, these guys are all very close if you do projections. Like, not much is separating them all. So, like, you can make the case for Wilson, you can make the case for Stroud. Heck, you could make the case. You could do the Aiden O'Connell thing. Like, it's kind of a similar thing with Aiden O'Connell, right? Because that Jaguars defense is atrocious. Yeah. So, I just like the upside shot that Penix gives you. I think it's a little bit better. That's why I'm willing to take it. But yeah, if you want to go for it, like 100%. We're going to get to 25. This is basically our best for a rest because we don't need to talk about the bottom two.
Agree.
Tier 5, quarterbacks 25 through 30. We'll roll through it rather quickly. Starting out, we mentioned Bryce Young going against the Cardinals defense. I do not like this matchup for Bryce Young. Hopefully, he can have a bounce-back game. We will see if that comes through. Quarterback 26, we just talked about it. Mac Jones going against Vegas. Vegas defense is trash. Mac Jones has passed it a lot. There is some upside. It's a lower floor and ceiling, but he could put in a decent game. Now, you're probably waiting to hear Geno Smith. Here he is, quarterback 26, because the Minnesota Vikings defense is rough, and they generate a ton of pressures. Problem with Seahawks is they allow an insane amount of pressures. It's kind of a bad versus bad scenario. I do not like it. Geno Smith is going to have to play above and beyond in this game to really give the Seahawks a chance. I'm scared. Our quarterback 28 is Jayden O'Connell. It's going against Jacksonville. Terrible defense. O'Connell could give you some fantasy production in this game. It's more of like a lower floor, decent ceiling, but yeah, you're not there. It gets bad here. We'll just say the New Orleans starting quarterback, if it is Rattler, if it is Hainer, he's our quarterback 29. I mean, it's Green Bay. They're projected for the lowest points in the week. Don't do this. And then our quarterback 30 is because there's really no other starters. It's the Mason Rudolph, the Carson Wentz, the kind of the backup. We'll say it's the Titans starting quarterback, but no one's going to play Mason Rudolph. Like, I just don't see the upside of playing him. So, is there anybody, like, we could talk about Mac Jones for a second, anybody in this tier 5 that you're interested in playing, or kind of just being like, it's an upside shot, but not for me?
No, but I love how we have starting quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson outside the top 32. That's fantastic. That's where he belongs. That's where he belongs. Good job, us. Aiden O'Connell against Jacksonville should be able to sling it. I'm just a little concerned about what that's going to look like. We know he has the weapons. The problem is we do not know exactly what it's going to look like with the running game. I mean, certainly Alexander Madison will be healthy. Certainly Amir Abdullah is there and available. But, are we going to see the Aiden O'Connell who chucks it around 35, 40 times a game? Or, is he going to get hurt mid-game and have to come out, which has happened 3 times this season. So it's just a disaster for Aiden O'Connell. That Atlanta secondary is at least decent when they face limited offenses. So I think that it's Jacksonville. Jacksonville has been a little bit better this season. So we'll have to see what happens late in the season, rather, on defense. So we'll have to see what happens here. Can Kobe and Bowers eat? Yes. Can they be completely limited by this quarterback in this offense? Yes. So we'll see. But yeah, Mac Jones is the guy. Mac Jones in that same game is the guy I want to play. He looked great. You mentioned Brian Thomas Jr. Earlier on the show. We have Brenton Strange, who saw like 11 double-digit targets last week. So I really like Mac Jones, and I would play him over pretty much everyone here, including Bryce Young.
Completely fair. Like the Bryce Young stuff, he's been playing better last week is rough. So we'll see how that offensive line holds up this week. It could be tough for them.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm talking about these quarterbacks. I know that there's the Drew Lock situation. We don't really not focus too much on that defense. The offense is so bad. I don't think you really want to play Drew Lock. There's a little bit of scrapping ability, but like just no thanks. Like he's the other quarterback. It's just like, I mean, I guess, but you're really down bad because DTR should be a good play. But he sucks. Like he's just not good. So we're going to pivot off of talking about the really bad quarterbacks to the tight ends, the good ones. Tier 1 tight ends, these are the big dogs of fantasy. If you've been following us or basically just fantasy in general, you could probably take a guess who they are. No surprise, it starts out with the guy who was guaranteed a touchdown by his quarterback. It's Trey McBride going up against Carolina. Carolina's fantastic matchup. Trey McBride's an excellent tight end. Should work out well. Our tight end 2, no surprise who it is. Brock Bowers going up against Jacksonville Jaguars. Similar scenario, same situation. Our tight end 3, George Kittle going up against the Miami Dolphins. You know how good Kittle has been. We shouldn't expect nothing less from him. Our tight end 4 is TJ Hawkinson. I think we're projecting a little bit of Hawkinson, but it's hard to rank guys above him. So that's kind of why his thoughts in this tier, right? The next guy, Jonnu Smith, is who I prefer over Hawkinson. I'm not going to fight anybody about this, though. But yeah, Jonnu Smith is locked in tier 1 tight end for the rest of the season. He is fantastic. He goes up against San Francisco. I know they have like Warner and stuff. I'm not too worried about it. Like you still play Jonnu Smith. And the last guy in this tier, Travis Kelce, the old man still holding on strong. He's our tight end 6. So yeah, who do you want to talk about this tier 1, Jimmy?
Yeah, I don't know if he's holding on strong, but he's holding on. He still exists. He's out there.
There's no competition.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about him. I want to talk about Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is absolutely crushing. Over the last 2 months, he's averaging like 8.5 targets a game. He's scored 5 touchdowns in his last 5 games, only missed 1 game without a score, and still finished as the tight end 3 on that week against Green Bay because he went 10 for 113. Jonnu Smith is absolutely killing it, finding the end zone, and now he gets San Francisco. I mean, look, the San Francisco defense is still kind of, by all accounts, a good defense. They actually have showed up the last couple of weeks, and they are the second worst matchup for tight ends on the season. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Jonnu Smith is absolutely going to crush in this game yet again. And if Jalen Waddle misses this game or is severely limited, I don't care either way. I mean, crap. Jalen Waddle plays, you're still firing up Jonnu Smith. Yep. So Jonnu Smith is absolutely going to crush in this game. And then, my hashtag says it all, Trey McHusband. He's going to be the guy who absolutely dominates. Kyler has guaranteed a touchdown. He's the wide receiver or tight end 1 with or without the touchdown. But let's get the touchdown. Let's get the touchdown this week.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You're talking about Travis Kelce. He is 4th in target share among tight ends in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy. Like, this just shows you how good Kelce's been. His 22%, we're like, oh, he sucks now. That's just the way. Travis Kelce, he's been so good. That's what it is. Yeah, I like all these guys in this tier. Hawkins is the one that worries me a little bit, but Kier's still playing it, man. He's just so good.
To your Travis Kelce point, in the last 5 weeks, half PPR, tight end 38, 14, 15, 12, 24. And the targets are there, 4, 8, 13, 6, 8. The targets are there. The production is not. He's not scoring.
Yeah.
Yuck.
And Noah Gray. Hey, Noah Gray. Get off the field, Noah Gray. Your boy, my boy. Yeah, he's limiting him a little bit. It's just that offense in general has just been not fun to watch, and it probably will not be fun to watch this game. Like, I don't like it. It's just there's not enough good tight ends as much as we like these guys. All right, enough yakking about these tier 1 guys. You know who they are. Let's go to our tier 2 guys, 7 through 12. Starting out with Mr. Sam Laporta. He's back. The big dog is back. Yeah, we're expecting points galore for them against Chicago. Yeah. Laporta should be viable for you. The next guy is actually a very similar scenario. It's Mark Andrews. He's back as well. He's our tight end 8. Going up against Pittsburgh. I know the matchup. He has 0 career touchdowns against Pittsburgh. You still got to fire him up. He's still too good. He averages like 40 yards a game against them. It's fine. It's just a little bit lower. The next guy is our tight end 9. This is Brenton Strange. Juicy matchup against Vegas. We talked about this on the show. Like, just fire up Strange, man. Like, it's all setting up for him. Mac Jones loves him. You should love him. You play him. Our tight end 10 here is Tucker Kraft going up against the Saints. Not too much needs to be said. The target share is a little lower for him. But you know what? He still has a chance to get 2 touchdowns this game. That's the case you're on. The next guy, the most just meh tight end of all time, is Pat Freiermuth. Going up against Baltimore, I probably want to knock him a little bit, actually, now that I'm looking at these rankings. But he kind of slots in here by default. It's just the floor is decent. The ceiling's really not there for him. And our tight end 12, Mr. Hunter Henry, Mr. PPR scam himself, continues to get targets. We'll see if it works out for him this game against Buffalo. The potential for points are there. I don't know if it's going to work out. So, guys in tier 2, who are you most excited to start about, and who are you kind of throwing on the bench this week?
Yeah, you mentioned Brenton Strange. That's a guy that I'm happy to fire up in many, many cases. You heard we did not mention Dalton Kincaid, who had a kind of decent week last week. There's a few other guys. Let's see. Who else didn't? Oh, of course, my rankings have been destroyed. All right, we're going to switch on the fly here because quality podcasting waits for internet access to boot up. Who else are we playing over Brenton Strange? You didn't hear Stone Smart. You didn't hear Kyle Pitts. You didn't hear Cole Kmet. You didn't hear Jawan Johnson. You won't hear until much later. Brenton Strange is going to get there, and primarily because Mac Jones is slinging it. He's throwing the ball about 35 times a game. He threw it a ridiculous 46 times against the New York Jets, but he plays Vegas. Vegas is probably not going to score, so I expect him to be closer to 30. But we know Brian Thomas is going to get his. Brenton Strange is the number 2 in this offense right now for probably the rest of the season. So I'm really happy to fire him up. And then you talk about Mark Andrews. It's been an awesome run out for Mark Andrews. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns in his last 10 games. He's been crushing it. And he's healthy. So when Mark Andrews is healthy, he plays well. Surprise, surprise. I don't care about the matchup. I don't care about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh did limit him in week 11 to 2 for 22 with no score in that range where he scored 8 touchdowns in 10 games. I don't care. I think he scores in this.
Yeah, I think these guys in this range, like, You're going to play the majority of them. They're still good plays. A few of them I'm a little bit worried about. But overall, like, I think we're overthinking it if we start going down this. Like, you're talking about Stone Smart and those guys, right? Like, it's just it's a little bit harder in that range of tight ends. Let's go to our tier 3 guys. They're the little fun ones. We're going to have a discussion about David Njoku, why SC and freaking Aaron hate the hell out of this man, because they're putting him below some seriously bad tight ends. But we'll go to tier 3 and we'll talk about this. Jake Ferguson, Tampa Bay. It's just simple as that. Good tight end, not much competition. It's good matchup. You just play him there. Tight end 14, Cade Otton. He's going up against Dallas. Another one, like the target shares come down a little bit, but he's still decently focal point of this offense. I think you could get by play Cade on. You mentioned Dalton Kincaid earlier. Here he is. He's our tight end at 15. Still waiting on it from Kincaid. Like it all looks nice on the outside, but when you zoom in, you're just left disappointed because he's not living up to the expectations of what we were hoping for, right? Tight end 16, the guy I talked about, the guy we both have inside the top 10, David Njoku, is because our buddies decided to yeet him to the core of the earth to say, like, we're not doing David Njoku this week. We can have to toss that one out for a second. Dalton Schultz, tight end 17. Go to against Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City gives up a ton of fancy points to tight ends. Sometimes it's this simple. The Chiefs are a really good matchup for tight ends. Yep. Schultz is a starting caliber tight end. Like, he's not great, but, like, he should be able to give you some points in this matchup. And the guy you mentioned before, tight end 18, Kyle Pitts. It's going to be interesting because they have a new quarterback this week, how that's going to impact Kyle Pitts as being what we call like a tertiary option of the offense where you cannot, like, I would have a really hard time playing Kyle Pitts this week. But he's in our rankings as a top 18 tight end. So who do you want to highlight this tier?
Let's talk about David Njoku, Jesse. What the hell, guys? When David Njoku is on the field, he's getting targets. He's probably the number one option on this team, especially with DTR. I don't know that we're going to get much more than 20 pass attempts in this game. But that being said, those pass attempts are going to be close to the vest, close to the line of scrimmage. And you talk about Elijah Moore and you talk about David Njoku. Jerry Jeudy, goodbye. Was nice knowing you. Hopefully you're able to yak your way to relevance over the next couple of weeks here. I don't know. Cedric Tillman, will he ever come back? If he does, who cares? DTR has no business taking deep shots. So it's going to be the Jerome Ford show until further notice, but you hope David Njoku can get there. And with this cast of characters that we just listed in front of him, Kincaid, Otton, Ferguson, Henry, Freiermuth, no thank you. I would at least put him where you have him at tight end 10. I have him at tight end 7. Just think if there's 22 targets to go around, he's going to see, at least eight of them, at least 33%. So, David Njoku for me is a fair start. These other guys, I don't really want anything to do with them, but you did mention it. Cade Otton is interesting in this very good offense led by Baker Manfield at Dallas. Tampa's going to score a crap ton of points.
Yeah, like with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, David Njoku's been like the one viable pass catcher there. Like we talked about it when we talked about Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 3.7 yards per pass attempt. It is abysmally low. You know who that helps? That helps David Njoku. He's playing lower than the rest of the guys in the NFL offense. Cedric Tillman, absolutely not doing that. Like he's the downfield threat. So I think Njoku's the one you could play because he's going to probably see 50% of the target or in that range of targets in this game, even though it's a low passing tree. Like if we're talking about Stone Smarts of the world, like it's just so tough to like see the upside with those guys, right? So at least you're getting a concentrated target share. Will it work out? I don't know, but I'm willing to see it over the freaking Cole Kmets of the world. Like I just don't want to do that. So I think Otton, Ferguson, Njoku are the guys that kind of stand out. If you want to do Schultz in a good matchup, Pitts, like another situation, like I just don't want to touch Pitts, man. Like I probably need to push him down in rankings to tell you the truth. Like I would start other guys over him. Let's go to our tier 4 guys. It starts to fall off here. There are a couple guys you can play, and then we'll probably do the rest of tight ends. Tight end 19, Stone Smart going up against Denver. He's a tight end that's running all the majority of the routes. Connected to Justin Herbert. Sometimes it's that simple. Our tight end 20, Juwan Johnson. Quarterback play is abysmal, but hey, he's seeing targets and in the offense, so you could technically do worse than Juwan Johnson. Tight end 21, Cole Kmet going up against the Detroit Lions, and Lions are really tough against tight ends. I don't know if I want to play Kmet. You could talk yourself into it, but this is why he falls in this range of tight ends. The next guy, Chig Okonkwo, has a really good matchup against the Colts. They're really bad in coverage against tight ends. He had a random just blow-up game out of nowhere. I don't know if it's going to continue down that track, but hey, and this range of tight end, this is what we talk about. It's like, might as well if you're talking about him versus our tight end 23. It's Mike Gesicki going up against the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, it's been so up and down with Gesicki. You don't know which role he's going to play, which makes him inherently risky to play with a Super Bowl for. And the last guy in this tier, our tight end 24, Grant Calcaterra. He was on the field last week. I think he saw one target. It's tough. This is the problem when you get the backup tight ends. Unlike the Brenton Strangers of the world, this is how it usually goes, Calcaterra, where they're not a focal point in the offense. And this is one of the run-heaviest teams in the NFL. It's really hard for Calcaterra. You're hoping for a touchdown in this range. So from tight ends 19-24, who are you excited to play, or are you just kind of just fading all of these guys?
Excited? No. I'm fading everyone. The only guy I have here above significantly above the rest is Stone Smart. He's just going to get the volume. Justin Herbert is going to look for him. He's an athletic freak. We've seen him go up and get the ball, attack the football, and bring it in. So he's got some nice hands as well. And he'll be open. Right. One thing that's for sure is Justin Herbert and that run game in Los Angeles, even without J.K. Dobbins, is still able to get these receivers open on play action. This offensive line is good enough to give Herbert time. And so I'm not super bullish on Stone Smart against Denver, but I would prefer to play him over all of these other guys. But yeah, Cole Kmet, I'm not doing that. Juwan Johnson, I get it. Juwan Johnson's going to see a ton of targets. Alvin Kamara might not be in this game. The Saints have nobody left. And we love that to a point, right? It was like, fire up MVS, fire up Mason Tipton. And like, for the most part, most of those calls were correct. We're at a stage now with New Orleans where the injuries have been so severe on offense. We're rolling out Spencer Rattler. We've got wide receiver 5, 6, and 7 running routes. Juwan Johnson wasn't even tight end 1. For a majority of the season as well. He wasn't even tight end 2 sometimes. I know he was dealing with injury early in the season, but, he got Foster Moreau out there. Certainly Taysom Hill was out there far too often. All of these guys have just fallen by the wayside and succumbed to injury. Juwan Johnson, the only guy left, and still he's my tight end 21, and you just continue to fade him. There's no way you could get me to start Juwan Johnson in my fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, I like your case on Stone Smart. I'm kind of there with you. He is that Evan Ingram type for tight end because he is small for tight end perspective. He's listed at 6'4", 226. So he's a wide receiver who I think he used to be quarterback, which wide receiver, and transitioned to tight end. So he is that undersized one. But yeah, he gives you the athleticism and the playmaking ability. So they need that on this team. So, I mean, if you're chasing Stone Smart in this range, 100% get it. I do not mind it at all. And to your point on the rest of these guys, it's going to be difficult. So if you're playing these guys, just expect it very low. If you want to do Chig Okonkwo, I'm fine doing it. He showed you last week, or Juwan Johnson is at least target share. It's similar to David Njoku. It's just not a great offense, so you know what you're getting. Our best of the rest tight ends. I mean, we could talk about a few of these guys, but it is pretty ugly, folks. We have Noah Gray. He's the top guy there. Makes sense because he's playing a decent role in the Chiefs offense. Noah Fant, Isaiah Likely kind of rounding it out. Jatavian Sanders, if you want to do that. Foster Moreau. Zach Ertz is well down in our rankings this week. I'm kind of surprised by that because of the route he runs. Is there anyone outside of the top 24 tight ends that you're interested at least like seeing about this week, or is just there no one for you that you want to at least attempt to?
Yeah, no one. I think there was concerns about Zach Ertz being out for the season. I don't know that has been explored at all at this stage, but certainly the concussion was enough for that old man to consider just kind of packing it up and potentially calling it a career. To be honest, took the hard hit, and what is he? 36 years old at this point. So at the end of this season, I mean, it's probably it. Who knows? Maybe we'll come back. But no, I don't want anything to do with any of these guys. Bellinger, no, thank you. Ben Sinnott, props to Aaron for being the only FFU member to rank our preseason rookie tight end 2 overall in the rankings this week. But no, I can't do Ben Sinnott, especially against Philly. Maybe against like Carolina. You could consider him, but no, there's no way. No, I don't want anything to do with any of these guys. If you don't have a top 6 tight end this week, good luck. If you have like Noah Gray, Stone Smart, okay. But you're playing with fire. You really need one of these guys. I'll go as far as to say a top 9 guy with Brenton Strange maybe in there, maybe top 10 even. But yeah, it's really a mixed bag this week, and you just pray that your tight end of choice falls in the end zone.
Yeah, I just hope you're not going up against like Browers and McBride because they have really juicy matchups. I will say the matchup against Cincinnati is really good. So you could talk yourself into Jordan Akins if Njoku's out. I expect him to play. He's not going to, but that's another guy if you're willing to take a shot. It's like it is what it is. A tight end against bad, fast tight end. The depth's just not there. Yeah. We've gone through this the entire season. So We got ourselves a Stone Smart. We have ourselves, Brenton Strange coming to life. Outside of that, it's just, hopefully you have the goods. Or if you don't, you better make up those points elsewhere. So that's enough talking about these tight ends. I don't think we need to harp too much about those guys. Yeah, that's our ranking show, folks. They're done this week. Hopefully you have the guys that can win you the championship. Check back in on this on Saturday for the roundtable. I don't know why I say gridiron. I'm all over the place. Fantasy Football Roundtable. We'll be discussing everything fantasy. I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of starts in that question show because we always do. But anything else you want to talk about fantasy, if you want to talk about trades, if you have still trade deadline, opener, dynasty, all that stuff, you're listening to it. And then Sunday, sit start show. That's the big one, man, to make it to the Fantasy Football Championship. So hopefully y'all join us an hour early before kickoff. And that is that for week 16. So you know what? If you're staying with it this long, you're 40 minutes in, you are a diehard. We appreciate you. Like and subscribe because that makes the world to us. So that's enough for Emily for me. We're going to end the show. So for Jeremy, myself, Aaron, and SC, stop fading David Njoku. We're out on that note.